So 18 years later, I'm walking into that building, suited, with a business plan in my hand. And I'm like, I swear it, like my whole body just went into, I think I started kind of crying. And I was just shocked. I was like, this can't be, I mean, it could be anywhere in London.
Wow.
How can it be here?
If only they knew. The hub for young business minds.
Welcome back to another episode of the If Only They Knew podcast. Today, I'm joined by the Apprentice 2019 candidate, Jemelin Artigas. So thank you, Jemelin, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's honestly a pleasure. And the reason in particular I wanted you on today is because you have such an inspiring story that I know will, one, inspire people, but two, also motivate them to sort of give them something, a bit of proof that anything's possible, you know? So we'll get deeper into that a bit later on.
Yeah.
But if you don't mind, starting off, we'll get straight into it. What was a young Jemelin like? What was you like as a kid? What sort of things were you interested in? Because obviously you was on The Apprentice. Was you interested in business when you was younger, or?
No, actually, when I say a teenager, I've always been really grown up in a weird way. I've always had friends that are older than me. When I was about 12 years old, I've always had friends on like 18, 19, 20, even 24 years old. I'm the eldest of three sisters. So I've always had that adult in me that, you know, I needed to be responsible because I had to pick them up, cook for them. My mom had to work. So I was kind of like a mom from the age of 12. And which is weird, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I really liked it because it gave me the freedom to also ask my mom to stay out. So obviously as a 14-year-old, I could stay out in a club or well, it wasn't a club, it was like a kids club, but I could stay until like 1 o'clock in the morning when most of my friends at 10 will be going. So for me, it was that factor that the more responsibility I had, the more freedom I had. So then I had a taste for responsibility. So the house was spotless, the sisters were well fed, because all I wanted to do was party. So that was kind of like my reward, I guess. Yeah. So I wasn't really business orientated, but I was more of a responsibility orientated, I guess.
Yeah. Where did you actually grow up then? Because you came to the UK at age 17, am I right?
16.
16, wow.
16, yeah. So I grew up in my country, in Venezuela. I just finished graduating from high school, and I had really good grades. So I graduated with honors, which that means is that you don't have to fight. Normally in my country, you have to fight for a place in university. You have to apply to a few. You might not get on the one that similar to here, you might not get on the one that you want. I had a place in the top university in Venezuela. I wanted to study journalism. I was really, really into news and things like that. So I already had a place. And like I said, like I've grown up being a grown up even since I was, I don't know, I think since I was 7 years old when my mom separated from my dad. Then I felt like I had to look after my sister because obviously my mom was working all the time. So I never had a real childhood. It was a very weird one because sometimes I'd be a child and I play and, you know, I had all these child things to do, but then suddenly I have to get home, I have to cook, I have to clean, I have to do all this adult stuff. It's like, it's so confusing.
Yeah.
So when I was about 16, I graduated, and then I think my mom must have felt a little bit like I stole your, you know, and I'm grateful for my mom. She gave us so much, but she was like, why don't you just go away, go for a year? My ex-boyfriend at the time was coming here for a year as well. She's like, you're going to study journalism. Speaking English is really good for your career because then you can, you know, find work in other countries. So yeah, and that's where it all began. I came to the UK when I was 16.
Wow, that's crazy. I wouldn't even be able to think of going to another country to actually sort of set out there and set up and live there, you know, at such a young age. Like I'm 22, and like just going on holiday gives me anxiety, let alone going somewhere to like live properly. That's crazy.
For me, it was scary. I'm not going to lie to you, but but it was also exciting at the same time. And I think, like I said, like my mom always saw how responsible I was, and she knew I wasn't gonna come here and then, do all the wrong things. She actually had loads of faith in me, I guess, because I think by the age of 16, she felt like I was 20. I actually felt like I was 20, 21, because I've been living so fast paced,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, it's an interesting point that you said you was interested in journalism, because a lot of the people I talk to that have ended up in some form of business, they either sold sweets at school or they were interested in journalism. So I think there must be a sort of an element within journalism that sort of sparks that business mind. It must be like the independence, I guess. Like you said, you was
I think
independent.
so, yeah. And you have to fetch for yourself when
Yeah.
you're a journalist, you have, it's constant fetching and constant looking for like news, and constant looking for that top story, looking for the truth. So I think that kind of sparks inside you, kind of like, okay, well, if I have this desire and we're very resilient, journalists are very resilient. That's why my mom said to me, so actually I applied to be a journalist or a lawyer, because my mom said to me I had to win every argument with her. So she's like, you'd be a brilliant lawyer. And I was like, but then when I realized that as a lawyer you can only work in your country, I was like, no, I might want to be going away and working somewhere else. So journalism was kind of like the top one, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you remember this, but last year when I reached out to you, when I saw you was applying for the Apprentice, you mentioned that you were pretty much homeless when you come over here and had quite a tough time. Is that right?
So yeah, so basically what happens was, at the time when I came to London, obviously I had my first boyfriend. It was kind of like my first serious relationship. My mom knew him, and I've been with him for a year before I came. And I was so in love with him. Your first love, I guess. I was like really, really in love. And his best friend was living here already for 2 years. No, sorry, 1 year before. So that was a hook. So we came to London, and he came first, and then the next month I came. He sorted everything out. We was living in Good Street, which is like a little box of student accommodation, but it's central London. And yeah, and then he picked me up from the airport, and it was, amazing. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe at 16 living with your boyfriend or your girlfriend. That's very cool, right? You're like, I mean, we had 2 other people in the same room, which is not fun, but still being able to like act like adults, I guess. So about 6 months into me being here in the UK, but this time obviously I was working flying. I still haven't learned the language. It was really tough, having to adapt. 6 months into living in the UK, I found out he cheated on me.
Oh no.
And yeah, that sucked.
Yeah.
But me being the crazy Latina that I am, I packed my bags and I left.
Nice.
And, I think I told him I was going to a guy's house or something like that, but I had nowhere to go.
Wow.
But this is a funny story though, because this is 18 years ago now. I'm walking down, I don't know if you know London, do you know Good Street? Do you know, Tottenham Court Road?
Yeah.
Yeah? So we live in Good Street. So as soon as you come out, it's that road, that Tottenham Court Road.
Right, yeah.
And I'm literally walking, and I'm fuming. I'm like, I'm crying, and I can't believe it. And I got my one bag with me. I actually brought £800 and I spent it on a coat.
Wow.
I didn't know the money here. So I was like, oh, £800 is fine, yeah. They didn't take it back. It was really nice coat, and it kept me warm. Anyway, so I'm like walking down. I have no money. I have no phone. I have just my bag, and it starts to pour down in rain. And obviously my bag was fabric, so I knew if it got wet, all my clothes would get wet, and then how it was going to change. And as soon as I'm walking down, and there is like a bridge, sort of like a bridge in where the road is underneath. And I ran into that bridge, like that. It's not a bridge, but it's like I don't know how to say it, like a passage, like
an arch,
it's not a passage,
thing.
Like an arch.
Yeah.
And I ran under the arch, and it was about 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And I see all these people coming out from this building. They're dressing in a suit, and there was, and I'm just like cry myself. And then I look at them and I said, one day I'm going to be like them. I'm going to be I'm going to be an important business. But for me, it was more because my boyfriend cheated on me. So, you know, like, I'm going to be such an important business person, and I'm going to see if I can kick him out of the country. I don't know. All these things really played in my mind, but it rained for a long time. So I was sitting there looking at people going in and out, in and out, in and out. And 18 years later, I get the first call for the Apprentice auditions.
Yeah.
And obviously I had to wear a suit, like it's the Apprentice. I never wear suits. I'm not a suit kind of girl. I've always mixed business fashion, never been into suits. But I was like, that day I was like, I'm gonna have to invest in one. So I went, bought a suit, and I get the letter, and then the letter says, you know, near station, Tottenham Court Road. And I'm like, that's weird. I always thought for a reason, everything to do with the Apprentice was going to be Canary Wharf.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think everybody has that idea, right?
Yeah.
No, in Canary Wharf, what? So yeah, so I'm walking down that road and I'm like, and then my GPS is telling me, keep going, keep going, keep going. And I'm coming close to that arch. And I'm like, no, it can't be. And then keep going, 10 left, going to the left, and the arch, and it was the same building. So 18 years later, I'm walking into that building, suited, with a business plan in my hand. And I'm like, I swear it, like my whole body just went into, I think I started kind of crying. And I was just shocked. I was like, this can't be, I mean, it could be anywhere in London.
Wow.
How can it be here?
Yeah.
And I could see myself in that corner with my bags and crying. I was like, so obviously I get to the queue of the auditioners, and it's a long queue, and everybody's seeing me like, who is she? Why is she looking so happy already? And I'm like, I got this. I'm sorry, guys. You might as well all go home because it's mine. I'm sorry. That's when I felt like, okay, well, this is meant to be.
That's crazy. Because that's one thing I was sort of going to allude to a bit earlier on. Like, do you think it's sort of destiny? But the story you said there suggests that it probably is destiny, and there is some sort of form of it already being planned out. Either that, or it's a complete coincidence. Which one do you think it is? Do you think it's destiny?
No, I'm a massive believer of visualization. I think a lot of the times we blame it on deja vu. You like feel like, oh, I had deja vu. It's like you feel like you lived that moment, and really and truly, you probably lived that moment in your mind. Yeah. I think we are a product of visualization. What we see, what we believe, we achieve. I've been on a journey on finding about this for about 3 years now. And then once I understood what visualization meant, I kind of looked back and I've visualized every moment in my life. And I've actually visualized my life out with the good and the bad, you know, because you can visualize something and think, oh, I'm not lucky, or, you know, I'm not lucky with love, and you keep visualizing this, and then guess what? You're never going to be lucky in love. Yeah. I've always said all my life I'm lucky in love. All my life I'm like, I'm so lucky with love. And I've been pretty lucky when it comes to, you know, to that part of my life. So, yeah, I think it was a product of me understanding. And obviously, I've been on this journey of visualization, and then that happens to me. I'm like, okay, well, this is it. We can definitely visualize everything in our lives. And I think the power of our minds is what sets you apart from the rest. And the 2% or the 3% of the people that actually do something extraordinary, they all will tell you the same thing, is that power, it starts with your mind, and then with your actions, and then so on. But if you don't believe in what you have or what you want or where you want to go, then nothing is going to work.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big believer of that, because only recently, the past less than a year or so, I started to really focus on changing my mindset. And you're right, as soon as I started doing that, started focus on things, the things that I really wanted started appearing, whether they were in like the final form or just like little snippets of it. But I'd be like, oh my God, that's the thing I thought of like last year, and it's like, it's happening. So yeah, 100%. I think mindset's key, definitely.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, obviously, there is a lot of cynical in our minds because, you know, we go through lots of bad stuff in life, and we see so many bad things in life. But we're very cynical. So I think once you reach that point where you can actually believe, where you can visualize, and it could be anything from you know, something materialistic to something that, you know, you want something in your life to happen. It is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. But yeah, I now literally take the mickey out of it.
Yeah.
I visualize a lot.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. That's good though. It's a good thing
But
to do.
once you have the belief, it happens. It
Okay.
definitely happens. It works.
Yeah, 100%. Well, let's quickly go back, if you don't mind, before we do get into The Apprentice and how that sort of come about, like you mentioned. When you was under that arch and when you applied for The Apprentice, there's quite a big gap. So what are some of the things you put into place, and what are some of the things you did, like as a job, to go from the lady under the bridge crying to the lady that we saw on the national TV? Like what was in between that?
So I feel like I'm the luckiest because my mom always used to say to me, you know, when it comes to your future, don't worry about 10 steps further, you know, follow the steps one by one and always trying to improve yourself. Okay. So I didn't have a set plan, but I knew that I had to do my roadmap. I'll say is I had to better myself every single time, you know. So once I conquered something, I couldn't get comfortable. I needed to conquer something else. So when I was in the arch, I didn't speak a word of English, you know.
Yeah.
And I, even that I've been here 6 months, most of my ex's friend was all Venezuelan, so we all spoke Spanish and we went to Spanish clubs, and you know, it's out of your comfort zone. So I was really scared, and you know, inhibitions, and I didn't like alcohol. So when my friends used to speak it because they get drunk and they talk, but I never used to get drunk.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I just can't. I can't. So my first step was that learn English. I was flying. It was really, 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 really cold. It was winter. So I felt like the only way I can get out of flying is if I learn English. If I learn English, then I can then find another job. So worrying about those progress every day. So doing something every day until I conquered that. So my ex actually managed to find me a job in a restaurant, but I was just cleaning toilets. She wouldn't, the manager wouldn't even let me go upstairs because I tried to chat to the clients, and she just thought I was really annoying. But I've been really resilient all the time. So I used to go like, she gone? Is she gone? Yeah, okay. Oh, hello. Hi, how are you? And then everybody would be like, no, she's coming, she's coming. And then I'd run downstairs and clean toilets. And it was just, so I was always so focused. So I was like, okay, so what can I do to speak English? I need something. So I needed to surround myself with English people, the English community. So I started going to pubs, started finding, I think English culture is amazing. I think the English are so friendly. Like, you know, they just the nicest. I was like, why have I not done this before? They don't like the gossip. They don't care about what you do, who you are. They just care about having a pint and having a good time.
Yeah.
So I was like, I love this. So then I found a guy. I actually went out with a guy from here. Started going out with an English guy for a few months. I think we went out for a year, and that was it. He pretty much teach me the language.
No way.
So then from that, then I could find something else. I was working as a cleaner, and then I pushed myself so hard to learn English. Then I begged the manager. I was like, can I be a waitress? Because obviously the tips. And she was like, no, assistant waitress. I was like, oh my God, that was like a promotion for me. Like,
Yeah.
what? I don't have to clean toilets. She's like, no, you still have to clean toilets, but you'll be allowed upstairs. So then I went from assistant waitress. Luckily that manager left, and then another manager came in and she was nicer. Then I went to waitress. Then I went to assistant manager, and then I became the manager of the restaurant for about a year.
That is amazing. That is so
But I was
crazy.
only 18, so imagine being 18. I mean, I got so fired. I used to turn up and, you know, crazy times, and like, I'm the manager. I don't need to be there on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
And
good.
then I started progressing and progressing, and then I felt like, okay, well, I can't really go into university because I need to support me. I need to support my mom. I actually got married when I was 19, but I've always been independent. And I always supported my family back home. So I was like, okay, what can I do to earn more money that, you know, that's going to help me? So I studied beauty therapist and skin specialist.
Well, like I said, amazing story. And I think in your audition tape for The Apprentice, you said something like along the lines, I will not rest until I get where I want to be, or something like that. And I think that story is like, just sums it up perfectly. You started from practically nothing, in a sense, like you didn't really have a home even, or a job. And through pure determination, you sort of battled on and got where you wanted to go. So that's the exact reason I wanted you on, to share that story, because I know the people listening to this would be like, oh my God, that story is so
I think
inspirational.
it's the bit, like, it's patience, and it's enjoying. I've enjoyed my journey so much because of what my mom put inside my head. Kind of like, make sure. My mom used to say to me, I don't care if you become a doctor. I don't care if you become the cleaner on the street. But if whatever you do, make sure that you're the best. So you're the best cleaner out there. You're the best doctor out there. And the only way you can do that is that you focus on your progression, not on your perfection. A lot of people are so focused on being that perfect person, or being that perfect, career, or, just getting everything so perfect to go. And I'm like, no, you need to keep going, and you need to fail. And every time you fail, you're going to feel so crap, but you need to learn. And the more you fail, the more you learn. So when you see failure into a positive light, then you will be able to understand. For me, it's tough, because I've had so many, like, like nearly like, yeah, I'm about to, yeah, and then something stops, and then I'm like, oh, and then I thought, Apprentice, this is it, and then boom, fired with 7, and I'm like, oh my God. And it messes you up. It does. But having the understanding that in order for you to succeed, you need to fail so many times, it's unreal. And it might take me another 10, 15 years, or another even 18 years to reach to what I want. But it's having that patience, knowing that you're still doing something every day that is going to make you a little bit better, that is going to make you progress. And if you're the same person today that you was a year ago today, then you're not progressing enough, then you're not getting out of your comfort zone. And that's what majority of people get comfy, they get comfortable in a job, and you need to be in the search of that next, you need to evolve. It's important as a person in your career, because it's the only way that you'll be able to reach a level of happiness. Because a lot of people's like, oh, so but you're super successful. I'm like, I think I am, not because my bank account doesn't agree with me, but I think it's mainly what I've achieved from having nothing.
Yeah, I love that. Like I said, very inspirational. How did The Apprentice come about? That's something I was curious of, because it seems like it's almost destiny, but like, how did you find out about it? Was it online? Did you get pointed in the direction of it?
So I've watched the show I think I've watched a few series, not all of them, but a few series. And I think I even made a comment once in my Facebook. I put a status up saying, what are these idiots doing? I need to apply for this. Because, like, to you viewers, it's a different story than to us. So I was going through quite a rough patch in my life. I've suffered from depression and anxiety. That's something I've battled with for many, many years. And I think I hit a low point where I have two successful sisters, and I didn't just compare myself to them, but I was like, wow, I'm the eldest, and they've achieved, like, my sister's got her house in Miami and she works for this amazing company. My other sister's Miss International 2015. So she's like a supermodel. She flies all over. And here I am, a hippie, traveling the world, drifting from job to job, because I've always been self-employed. So I hit kind of like a low point. I had accident on the street. Somebody punched me because I said not to giving them my phone number.
Wow.
So they actually knocked me out. Yeah, they knocked me out, and I had a concussion, and it was quite. So I was like, really, God, like, yeah, bring it on, whatever you want to bring on. And I was really down, and my son, bless him, he's the only thing that has ever tried to help me. And he said, Mommy, you need to get out of bed now, and you do this.
Wow.
One day I think he said something about, I miss my other mommy or something like that. And I was like, okay, I shook me up.
Yeah.
And then I said, I'm gonna open my laptop. The first thing I see, I'm just gonna go on it. So if I see anything to do with doctors or whatever, I'm just going to have a rethink of my life. I'm gonna program my journey. I don't know what it is. And then as soon as I open the laptop and I put Google, you know, you go into Google, on the right hand side it said apply for the Apprentice.
No way. You're killing me. That's crazy.
I was like, so 250,000. And at that time I had an idea for an app for the events industry. And this app has already got quite a few investors. And actually the investment I was looking for was 250,000.
No
without
way.
even put them together. So I was like, okay, this is it. So I applied. I remember it was like 12 o'clock, put the application in, and then got invited about a week later, got invited to the first auditions.
Wow, that is crazy. And how did you find the actual process itself? Like, did you enjoy it? Was it worth it? Because it seems to have been like the perfect match for you. Like, you went online and it was right there, and everything seems to have been leading to that moment. But do you think it was beneficial? Did it tick all the boxes for you?
It was, in a way. I'm always going to be grateful, obviously, for the opportunity. It wasn't what I expected. I think when I got to do the first task, I had a really, really, really rough producer, and I could see he was trying to mess everything up.
Yeah.
Just so, you know, just so we don't look great. And I had a big issue with that because I am the most stubborn person you ever meet, in terms of, like, if anything is injustice, like for me it's just not right. So I from the get-go I was like, oh my god, this is going to be a challenge for me, because I like things to be right. And I could see, like, he was like, yeah, I don't know if you saw the first episode where we lost the cellar.
Yeah.
He was telling us, no, it's down there, and I knew the cellar was down there. But you know, they just want to make us look really stupid, which they obviously did. And when I realized that, I was like, and it's great because it's good for entertainment, it's TV. I guess you get put under pressure. I remember Claude told me off because I was like, okay, everybody, forget about the cellar, let's have some wine. And then I'm walking out, and then Claude is like, Jemelin, and I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, they come for the cellar, they pay for the cellar, so they need to get and see the cellar. I'm like, oh my god. I was literally like, thank God I didn't go on the show.
Yeah.
And that's from that moment on. And I think by week 7, after having all these struggles, I was kind of like ready. And I remember when I was in the bottom 3 and they were like, yeah, you need to fight for yourself. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to, sorry, I want to go home. And they're like, yeah, but you need to fight. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I can take it anymore. I got too many morals. I wish I didn't. My mom always says to me, you'll be a multimillionaire by now if you didn't. But she put in too many morals. And half of the stuff that me and Low Sugar used to argue about, it's not even on the show because, he was really fed up with me. Because I would just be like, no.
Well, that's the thing. You're not a stranger to challenges. Like, the amount of challenges you faced in your life, something like that isn't going to put you down. But...
yeah, but it's when it's not on your control, you know, somebody's there trying to mess it up. Like, for example, the ice lolly task. We went to the zoo, and so we get to the zoo. I'm like, come on, let's go. We're gonna smash this. And then we get to the zoo, and then the producer's like, yeah, so we're gonna have an hour lunch. And I'm like, they're gonna melt.
Yeah, duh.
Okay, that's how we're playing.
Yeah.
So it's all of that added together. 7 weeks not seeing my family and all of that stuff. But I'm grateful. I think when I came out, I was really angry because I kind of felt like, in a way, I kind of gave up. And in a way, I had to follow my gut and follow my morals. And I could never see myself being his business partner. And that's just me being totally honest. And I could walk out from 250K knowing that I did the right thing for me. But obviously I also felt that I let myself down, and I think I cried the whole night. My poor boyfriend came and he was like, oh my God, what did I do to you? But it was a good experience. Afterwards, I think I learned a lot from myself.
Well, I think that's the thing, like, obviously we don't get to see the extent that it is sort of, they put you under a lot of pressure whilst filming. But from an audience perspective, like, especially you relate to so many groups of people that are watching. So it's like, it's almost like you're bigger than the show itself in a way. Like, you become someone's icon, even if it's just one person, Whereas
Yeah.
you, like, you had a big group of people supporting you, especially on Twitter and stuff like that. So it's like you're
Yeah.
sort of an icon for them. Like, you're bigger than what the show is about, almost.
Yeah, you know what? In a way, like, I felt that if I could inspire, and it's always been my aim I feel like my life, you know, we all have like a life purpose. My life purpose is to give that inspiration or hope almost to people that come to this country or even are in this country and then they got nothing, you know, they might be on a concert flat, or they might be, you know, don't have the family here. If you put your mind to it and you actually work for it, you can become something, anything that you want to become, because this is one of the countries, if not the only country, that I can see and I can tell that the opportunities are endless.
Yeah.
Endless. But it's about the decision that we make of what we want to make of our lives. And you know, we often blame everything. We blame our job, we blame the weather, we blame, you know, the money, we blame so many things. But we need to take responsibilities, and when we do that, and you know that you are the only responsible for your own happiness and what you're doing right now, if you're not happy, then that's you doing it to you.
Yeah.
You know, so if I can inspire somebody knowing that, you know, she's come from nothing, from being homeless, from not even speaking as, you know, the language, to doing all of these things. Yeah, it took me 18 years to get from there to from A to B. And in between I had a lot of struggles, but it's just understanding that you can do it. Anyone can do it. A lot of people say to me, oh, I'm too old. And I'm like, no, you know, you can become a doctor at 50 years old if you want to, you know, you still have another 40 years in your life. So it's all those mental blocks that we always put to ourselves. And it's when all those mental blocks, you take them out and you cleanse your brain and you think, I can do anything. You can ask me to do anything. I swear to God. You can tell me, can you fly a plane? And I'll be like, no, but I'll land.
Yeah.
There isn't anything that you can actually tell me that I can't do. Can you go to the moon? Yeah, no, I can't go to the moon right now, but yeah, let's do it. I can land. Because our mind, it's got so much power for us to do so many things. It's unlimited. So we put the limitations every day. And when you unblock all of those limitations, you can smash anything you put your mind to. Anything. And I think when it comes to our generation and even the younger generation, I think we have so much accessibility when it comes to YouTube and the internet and all of these things that actually you can do in record time now. You can become an astronaut in like 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
All on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, like that's awesome, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like when you put those two together, you put the resources that we do have and whatever you want to achieve, and you put your mind into it, then you can totally do it.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, talking about being happy and making sure your mindset's strong, because after the show you got a bit of backlash from the candidates itself, and I was like team Jemelin. I was like, come on Jemelin, you can do it. Like, just don't sort of bite the bait, because you don't want to lower yourself to their levels. And it's so good to see you battling on and doing what you do, and sort of not, like I said, lowering your standards to meet those donuts.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, like at the end of the day, you're always gonna have enemies when you have some sort of success, and you should actually get excited if you do, because that means that you're doing something right. I'm always going to speak up for myself. That's something that I'm always going to stand up for. But one thing I'm never going to do is that lower my standards. And I feel like, you know, being kind, being truthful, staying true to yourself, I think that's so important. And if I can portray that, and maybe I think people respect you more if you like that than you're an attention seeking, or, you know, you do things for the wrong reasons. Yeah, I just think it's unnecessary, all the stuff that was happening. But at the end of the day, I came out the other side and I'm fine. I'm you know, like I said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, great. It's been very inspiring to sort of look back at your story. And with that being said, what's your focus now? Like, what are you focusing on, and what's your plans for the future?
So obviously I had a launch I was going to launch my app actually in September. That's all gone down to nothing, because my app was actually for the events industry,
Yeah.
mainly trade shows and exhibitions. And Excel right now, it's a hospital. So obviously I'm not saying I'm not going to do it. I'm going to push that back.
Mhm.
I have my radio show now that I do
Yeah.
every Tuesday, which is brilliant. I get some of the candidates, and then we talk about mental health and inspiration and motivation and things like that. I'm writing my own book, so I want to write a book of my story on detail of what exactly I did. I think we touched down on that, but you know, for people to actually read, oh wow, she did this, she did that. So all my top tips on how to become something from nothing, and a bit about my life. I am now developing an app for my industry, which is the network marketing industry. I'm a network marketer. And yeah, my business has been absolutely crazy growing, because obviously people have realized now, oh shoot, I don't have a plan B. Oh shoot, you know, online is kind of like the way forward. So my business has exploded now, globally, because yeah, a lot of people are really like into it now, thinking, because as soon as I've got my two careers, which is events and network marketing, and as soon as the events drop off, and I'm self-employed, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? How am I going to feed my son? How am I going to pay my rent? So my network marketing business blew up, because obviously I had more time to work on it, and people were more open to it, and looking into it, seeing, you know what, you can actually make really good income from it.
I've seen you a lot on Instagram, especially, like, you're smashing it. Like, I see you every day,
Oh,
you're
thanks.
posting stories, I see all the feedback you're getting. So yeah, congrats on that.
Thank you so much. And
No,
thank you for having me. I hope anyone, you know, that's listening right now, you know, feel motivated. Don't get me wrong, I have my down days. I have my really, I don't want to do this anymore days.
yeah.
And that's fine. It's nothing wrong with that. You need to allow yourself to have those days. But stay focused and have a strong why you want to do. I want to inspire many people. I want to be the next Tony Robbins, you know, like I want to be on a stage, and I would just want to talk to everybody, just give them that shape that they need to fight for the dreams in their life, and have a big why, because of, you know, everything that I've been through. So focus on why you're doing what you're doing right now. And if your why doesn't make you cry, then you need another one.
Yeah, I love that. Before I let you go, because I know we're short on time, final question, if you don't mind. What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to be known as?
I want to be known as that lady that made me push myself harder, you know. I want to inspire, I want to motivate, and I feel like my story, it's here to do that, you know. My journey is just here to do that. Like, I can't keep quiet saying, you know, I've come from nothing. I was homeless, and then I went to the biggest TV show, and I've accomplished you know, so many things from zero, because there's a lot of people that have zero, and they feel like they just will never accomplish anything like that. So if I can just motivate and help and push other people and inspire them to actually do something for themselves and become happier, then that'll be my legacy done, and I'll be the happiest person in the world. That's why I love doing schools, I love doing the radio, I love doing lives, I love doing stories. Everything is about, you know, feel good and be yourself, be true to yourself, and grow, evolve. It's so amazing when you evolve, you know, because that's what us humans are here to do.
Jemelin, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Your
Thank
story is
you.
so amazing, so inspirational. The floor is now yours. If there's anything you'd like the audience to go and do, anything you'd like them to go follow, please do let them know. If not, thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, they can follow me on my Instagram. I'm always there, Jemelin Artigas. I always do lives and videos, and, you know, I share a lot of funny stuff as well. If you need any tips, I'm always happy to help. So do send me a message. And then I do my radio show every Tuesday at 11 a.m. So if you're a fan of the show, we do get, I think we had Dean this morning, we had Thomas, we had loads of people. I think next week we have Karina, which is the actual winner. So do get on that. All the information is all on my Instagram, Twitter, Jemelin Artigas as well. But yeah.
Thank you so much. Like I said, it's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
I really appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your day as well. Thank you.
You too. See you
Cheers.
soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
If only they knew, the hub for young business minds.